Well, this is an unusual start. Well, I thought this is a future sleuth. I should explain this video before we get onto it. So this is a beautiful puzzle from Sandra and Nala that I spotted this morning, and it had, Christmas, and I love the series. Obviously, Nala is just always adorable. So I went through it, solved it, and noticed that the solve count is unusually high, for a puzzle that's just been posted this morning. So I did a bit of digging and realized it's actually been solved a handful of days ago by both Cracking the Cryptic and Bremstar. So apologies for the repeat. Still, look at Nala. How could I say no to posting this video and uploading it? Hopefully for some of you at least, it will be actually a brand new puzzle and you get to enjoy it. Now, on with the show. Welcome back, everyone. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Nori Nori Christmas. Now, you're looking at that picture and you're thinking, where's the Nori? And I admit I'm not spotting it either. I don't quite get the significance of the seaweed or Japanese crispy seaweed in here, but I do see cookies, I do see a lovely kitchen, and don't know about you, but my dog would be absolutely staring, trying to lap up those cookies, just as Nala is here. Yes, I said it's Nala. We've got Sandra and Nala are back, and this is what we have in store for today. Shall we take a look at what the puzzle is? Let's do that. So, Nori Nori Christmas by Sandra and Nala, and I've got to apologize for the font size. It is extraordinarily small. So I'm going to first remind you that all of the details, the rule sets, the lore behind this puzzle are all in the description down below if you're finding this very difficult to go through. But I am going to walk through the rule sets and the story just now. So, Christmas time is coming soon. Yes, it is. I woke up this morning and I thought what we need to be doing is more Christmas puzzles. And it's probably not too early to do some baking. So Nala is eager to help out with anything, but she may not be the best fit when it comes to cutting out the cookies and placing them on the tray, so they don't touch each other when they go into the oven. She might need some help with that. Would you mind? So, the rule sets are, normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every box exactly once. So that means no repeat. We also have digits in a dash cage must sum to the value in the top left corner of the cage if given. That kind of implies they're not all given, which is unfortunate. Digits may not repeat within their own cage. So, for example, these 3 cells, I love the fact that Sandra paid attention to detail. So, the actual killer dash line is in green, and the sum is in the top left corner in red, sort of Christmassy colors. So, what that's saying is that these 3 cells are unique. They're obviously unique because they're in the same box, but in general, all the cages are going to have to be unique, and that these 3 cells have to sum up to 23, which is the digit shown in the top left corner. Digit, I don't think digit is the right word. Number. Right. Nori Nori Christmas. So, shade exactly 2 cells in each cage. Each shaded area forms a domino, as in a cookie, not necessarily within the cage. Shaded dominoes may touch diagonally, but not orthogonally. A shaded domino functions as a black Kropki dot, i.e. digits in a shaded domino are in a ratio of 2 to 1. It is possible for unshaded dominoes to be in a 2 to 1 ratio. Wow, that is quite a handful. Right, so how am I going to demonstrate with the information that we have available? That's always the trick with fog puzzles is, there's so much that's covered that you kind of have to end up having to use a lot of your imagination. So let's just imagine that this is not 23, it is 7. And that's a bad example. That's a really bad example. Let's go with 7. So if you want 7 in 3 cells, it has to be 1, 2, and 4. Now, the shaded cells part is telling us that 2 of these cells have to be shaded. I picked a bad color here. I am going to Do I want to stick to grey? That's a terrible idea. It's just because it's meant to be chocolate, so I want to stick to grey, but it just won't be visible on this fog. So I'm going to go with purple. So two of them have to be shaded, and when they're shaded, they have essentially a secret black crop dot between them, meaning that they are in a 2-to-1 ratio. So in this particular case, I could have 1 and 2 together, and this would be the 4, and then that would be fine because these are in a 2-to-1 ratio. What Sandra goes on to say is that just because two cells are not shaded doesn't mean that they can't be in a 2-to-1 ratio. So I could do something like that, where they're also in a 2-to-1 ratio, but they don't have to be shaded. Now, one last thing, and that's why it's unfortunate that my example was 7, is I could absolutely do as follows. Yeah, I'm going to pick a different number from 7. I'm going to go with 1, 3, 5 as in 8. So what I could do is actually something that looks like this: 1, 3, and 5. And then these two cells are the shaded ones. And then they have a partner outside it. Could be any of these cells, because remember, they're orthogonal. They are a domino that looks like a chocolate chip, apparently, on the cookies. And therefore, one of these would have to be a 2, one of these would have to be a 6. It could be this one, for example. And then they are shaded this way. So quite a lot to take in, but I think clearly, based on how little information we've been given, it is absolutely vital to actually solving this puzzle. So try and sort of, if you have to, rewind this bit, reread the rule sets just to sort of come up to speed on it. We also have digits separated by a white sugar decoration dot are consecutive. And we're back to having to use that imagination in fog puzzles. So imagine that is a white dot, not a grey X. And what that's saying is that these two digits are consecutive. So that could be 2 and 3. Or let me try that again. If that was a 2, that could be a 3, as in 2 plus 1 is 3. That could also be a 1, as in 1 plus 1 is 2. Important thing is that they're consecutive. Keep using that imagination. This is a white dot, not a grey X. Right, not all possible dots are given, so just the fact, may as well do this. So this could be absolutely 6 and 7, and that they are consecutive, not a problem, because they don't have a white kropki dot between them. That's not going to be an issue. And then lastly, kind of the obvious part, as you can see from the puzzle, that the grid is partially covered in fog. It really is fully covered in fog. Placing correct digits will clear the fog from the surrounding cells. So if, for example, 2 is the correct digit in here, then all of these adjacent cells, including the diagonal ones, will be revealed, and hopefully gives us a few more clues around what we're meant to be doing. So, if you feel like celebrating Christmas, it is December. If you want to bake some chocolate chip cookies, link will be in the description down below as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So a 23 cage in 3 cells can only ever be 6, 8, and 9. And what that means is 2 of these cells, remember, have to be shaded. And I said I'm going to use purple for the shaded cells. And I'm very deliberately picking these 2 because if you think about black kropki dots, you can place a certain set of digits that can be either, you can half them or multiply them by 2. That set never included a 9, because 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. 9 times 2 is 18. Way too big to place on a normal Sudoku rule sets. So the 6 and the 8, because they can't actually pair up, the 6 would pair up with a 3, the 8 would pair up with a 4. They're in the edges, and that's the 9. That's the first digit in under a minute. And then one of these is 3, and then one of these, one of these 5 cells is 3 and 4, which we're going to have to figure out what they are somehow. Probably with the cage sums that we have been given. So how am I going to do this? So if I think about it, Sorry, my mind's gone like totally blank. So the fact that I've placed all the high digits in here, like a lot of the high digits, not all of them, kind of tells me a bit of a clue that I want to almost like think about the digit 7. And, you know, where does 7 go? I can place a 7 in here and have to put in 6, which would be 2 or 4 or 1 or 5. Maybe, what am I doing in here? What am I doing? So these are the remaining digits. 1, 2. Oh, hang on. That's a full cage. That's a full cage. I'm stressing that. So keep thinking about the shaded cells. I can't shade these two together because that will be touching this one. If I shade these two cells together, here I'll show you, that means this one is now partnering with this cell, and then this chocolate chip, because remember, we're trying to separate them. I know that Nala can't, but we can, are touching. So that doesn't work. So essentially, we need, this domino has to go left. This domino cannot go up. It could go down or right. So I'm going to just kind of use a flash in here. But the 13 cage now has to have a second one, and it can't be in here because that would be touching. We need, you know, distinct chocolate chip cookies. Is it chocolate chip that... Oh, wow. Sorry, I really misunderstood this. The shaded area forms a domino cookie. Excuse me. We are changing colors, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go for yellow. So these two have to be separated so the cookies are not touching one another. And therefore, my example, if I put a 7 in here, breaks, doesn't it? Yes, it does, because... No, it doesn't. Because I could do 7 with 2, 4, and 2, 4. Then I can have the 4 partner with the 8, and then the 2 could partner with a 1. So actually that does fit. It's almost tempting to say that's the only way it will fit. If I don't use a 7, the next set will be 6. And then I'll need to get 2 sets. Oh, well, I can't use 6. So 7, 6, it'll go all the way down to 5. And then I need to get to 8. And then I don't have... Well, I could do 1, 7, presumably. But again, the problem is only one of these would actually fit in the yellow cookie dough. So 1, 7 doesn't work. 2, 6 is not available. And 3, 5 is not available. So 7 is a definite. It's got to be in here. And therefore, this is 2, 4. And these two have to be connected. It's got to be the 4 and 8. That's 4. That's 8. That's 6. Lovely. That's 2. This has to be connected to... Yeah, both of these see the 4. So one of these is a 1. I don't know which one it is. And one of these is a 3. Now, the 17 cage, well, this is not a cookie anymore. It actually reveals this for us. So let's have a think about this for a second. If that's the 3, I think that breaks it, because can't be a cookie, can't be a cookie, is a cookie, can't be a cookie, because again, it'll be orthogonally touching another cookie, and then can't be a cookie. So long way of saying this is the 3, no longer a flash. And then we have 1 and 5 left in here. And then we need to think about this shape for a second. Where is the other piece of the cookie? It's got to be in here, because it can't be this. Well, I mean, we've done this one. Can't touch, can't touch, can't touch. This is the only left, and that's a cookie again. And because we already placed 4 and 8, this is somewhat restricted. I could do 6 and 3. Notice I can't do the other way around because the 3 is already placed in the cage. And then the other possibility would be 1 and 2. And it's unfortunate I cannot distinguish them just yet. Clearly can't touch anymore. So that's, I mean, it doesn't stop it from being a 1 actually. But that's definitely the 1. Doesn't, like I said, that doesn't stop it from being a 1. So making an assumption that's a 5 and that's a 1 would be a bad assumption. Well, that's the one. Is it maybe time to think about probably the 17 cage? Where can I actually have... So these are the two cookie pieces, because this cell is touching another cookie, this cell is touching another, and again. So these are the two. This cookie can't go left, can't go up. One of these is the cookie kind of domino. And then one of these is the cookie domino. It can't go up, but it could go down, and both of these would go down. What else do we know? Oh, come on, Sleuth, think. We actually have a 31 cage, so we actually have a total in here. So I suspect we have to maximize this. So if I do 5 and 6, that's 11. 3 is 14. I need 17 in two cells that are unique. And yes, if I do anything less than 5 and 6, this will break. So that's 5, that's 6. That was the 1. So remember, that would have been a bad assumption. That 6 becomes a 3 in here to actually make sure that's a black Kropke dot. And these are 8 and 9. That's the 9. That's the 8 because of this 9 here. Look at kind of the 12 cage now. This cell now has to be the other part of the cookie. This is not. What do we have left in here? This row. 1, 2, 7, and 9, I'm going to say. And then 9 is too big. If I put a 7, that would put a 2 in here. That works. If I put a 1, that would be a 4 with an 8. That doesn't work. 2 with a 3 is a 5. And then I'd need a 7 in here, which doesn't work. So the 7 is actually forced. That needs to be a 2. These are not 7. And then this 2 is connected to one of these cells, because it can't sort of go back and touch this cookie. So one of these is a cookie. And therefore, if it's that one, it'll be a 4 because it's not 1. This could be 1 or 4. So we don't actually know. Well, maybe if I... well, that 1 here tells me that's a 1. So one of these is a 4 for sure. And then I have 2 remaining options in here, which are 4 and 5. And then I can complete the rest of this row. It is 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 actually. Yep. And then this row is 6, 7, 8. And actually I know that this is now a 5. Because notice these two cells, I said one of them has to be a 4 because one is not available. And because one of them is a 4, that can't be a 4, that's a 5. And therefore that's a 4, and that's a 3. These are not 3. That's not the cookie. This is the cookie. Ignore the flashes for the second. Now think about this. This can't be a cookie. This is not a cookie because it's a 5. That can't be, it's touching. That can't be, it's touching. This has to be a cookie, and therefore it is not a 9. It's 1 or 2. Regardless of what it is, it's 1 with a 2 that's connecting it, because I've already used 4 and 8 in the row. So that's a 9. That's the other cookie for this cage. These are not cookies. That's a cookie, and therefore not a 7. Neither of these, yes, that is a correct statement. So neither of these or this can connect. Now you might think, yes, an 8 could connect with a 4. The 4 isn't available as an option in here, but then I would bridge these two cookies, and we are meant to separate them. So one of these, I mean specifically, this cell is the only one that could be the rest of the cookie, and it has to be 3 or 4 to connect to this one. Lovely. What more do I know? Probably time to go back to that 17 cage. Probably. We've got sugar in here, a white Kropke dot. Well, it's not 1, 2 is not available, it's not 3, 2 and 4 are not available, it's not 4. It could be 5, 6. Excuse me, 5 and 6, and it could be 8 and 9, 7 is not available. So it's surprisingly restricted, surprisingly restricted. Right, where do we go from here, Sleuth? So I am going to think about the 17 cage. I mean, there's like almost literally no other. Is there no option? I mean, the 21 cage might reveal a few things. I mean, if I absolutely maximize everything, 9 and 8, that's 17. Plus a 4. Hang on. If I maximize everything, I think that's too big. 17 plus 5, that's 22. Plus 2, that's 24. So there's 3 degrees of freedom, potentially. Now, if I minimize everything, 10 plus 4, no, 10 plus 10, that's 20. So I think this has to be a 6. If it's 8, yeah, if it's 8, that's 17. And then the minimum I can make this will be 1 and 4, which is 5. That gets me to 22. So this is the 6. That's a 3. These are not 6. And then I have still, unfortunately, that degree of freedom. One of this could be a 4 and a 2. It could be 5 and 1. But these two add up to 6. And I don't know which way round it is. Right, let's really think about the 17 cage now. I've kind of delayed it enough. So I need to put 16 in 4 digits. And 1 is not available. So that's quite interesting because 16 in 4 digits is an average of 4. And I can't put that many high digits because the 1 is not available either. So if I remove the 2, the minimum I can make this would be 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 and 6 is 9, 4 and 5 is 9. That's 18, not 16. So there has to be a 2 in here. That's a given. So I'm already at 3, and then in 3 cells I need to make, what is it? 3 cells, I need to make 14. Now if I don't use the 3, the next 3 cells will be 4, 5, and 6. And I think that's too big again. So I need to have a 3. This 3 eliminates all these options except a 3 in here. And now I've got 6 and then 2 cells remaining that need to add up to 11. And it's not 5, 6 because I've got a 5, 6 looking at this cell. No, that's nonsense. I could do, well, actually, more importantly, I know what this cookie is because it needs a 6. That's not the 6. That's the 6. I'm going to delete any colors in here because there's probably still white left over. And then these could be 2, 5, 6 or 2, 4, 7. So I'm going to try and fill it in. Well, if it's, let me just put them all down. 2, 4, 7, 5, 6. That's not 5, 6. That's 2, 4, or 7. This has to be something that can go on a cookie. Well, it's not 5 and it's not 6. Right, it's not 5, 6 because I'd have to put both of them in this cell. So it is 2, 4, 7. That can't be a 7. So either a 2 or a 4. And then it would have to be, excuse me, it would have to join something in these 2 cells. Now a 4, can I tidy this up, this pencil marking at all? Doesn't look it. So 4 would, because I've already placed 2 in here, would require an 8, and it has to be in here, and then that's not 8 or 9. If it was a 2, well, 1 is not available in here, neither is the 4. That would have to be the 2 or 4. Well, that would be the 4, because that would be the 2. That's a long way of saying, I don't know, maybe I should look elsewhere. So ignore what I just did in here. So that basically 5, 6, 8, 9 to finish, it looks like it, doesn't it? It does reveal to me all of this though, so I actually know a little bit more about this cage. Such as, that's not the cookie, again, it doesn't have the room to expand, that's not a cookie, that's not a cookie, that's not a cookie, that's not a cookie. That can't be because it's adjacent to another, that is the cookie. And because it's already touching with this one, that's essentially the cookie. Now, if that was a 2, 1 and 4 are not available. That's a 4. That's an 8, because 2 is not available, and therefore that's not 8, 9, that's 5, 6. And then I imagine I need a 9, which is based on here, not 9. That's another 5, 6. And let's keep going. I'm sort of done with this cage, aren't I? I've got enough. Yeah, I've done the 17, so that's fine. Sorry, I'm just double checking that I've got 2 cookies in every cage. And I think the answer to that is yes. So what's next? I mean, 5, 6 pair. That's a 4. That's a 5. That has to add up to a 6 if you remember. So that's 1. That's 2. Don't have a total still. It's unfortunate. I do have an 8. So that's a 7. That's an 8. Then I have 5, 6 in here, which doesn't really help. Oh well. I think the uniqueness thing is probably one that's just I'm gonna keep forgetting. So for example, I have a 4 in here, I have a 5 in there, just Sudoku, eliminating all of these. If I think about the columns maybe, so I need an 8 and 9. So this is 5, 8, 9. This is 4, 8, 9. I did say 4, yeah. And then the rest of this, there's another 8, 9, which can't be in this cage because I've already placed the 2 8, 9s. And then I need an 8, 9, a 6, which also cannot be in here. So that's 6, 8, 9. And then I actually know what this digit is. It's whatever's left. It's a 3. And I'm pretty sure that gives me the 6 in here. So no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because I already have 2 cookies in this cage. So ignore whatever I was about to say in there, please. Can I do similar magic in here? What is the rest of this column? So we need another 2, 7. Plus a 4 and a 5. Well, the 4 and 5 is not in here. That's a 4, 5 pair because I already placed them in the cage. That's the 2, 7. And then in here, I have a 1, a second 2, 7, which based on what I'm seeing could be anywhere, and a second 8, 9, which again could be anywhere. Now, what I am thinking though is about this 7 cage, which looks like it's this. Because I think 7 can't be done in 4 cells. You can clearly see kind of that this is heading to the right, this is heading down, and therefore they are connected, and a 7 cage can never be bigger than 3 cells when they're all unique digits. Because if I try to, the minimum that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 10. So I think that's forcing it to be 1, 2, 4. Therefore, that's a 4. That's 1 and 2. This is a 5. Notice the 10 cage. Ooh, the 7 cage. I was about to make a mistake here. I was very tempted to say that these 2 are the cookies, but that's not true. I could potentially do it within the cage. Anyway, the 1, 2 in here gives me the 2, the 7. This is another 8, 9. Let's think about the 30 probably. We've got 6, 8, and 9, and 5. We've got 17 and 11. That's at 28. I can see it's heading into one more cell, and I say one more cell with great confidence because I'm not going to be able to get 2 in more than a single cell. Did that make sense? I'm at 28. I need a 2 to get to 30. It can only be done in one cell because I can't have a double 1, basically. So that's a 2. And I think if we think about the 30 cage and where are its cookies, we'll probably get an answer. So not a cookie, it's a 5. Not a cookie, it could be an 8, but it doesn't have a 4 adjacent to it. And these, because it's 6 and 8 or 6 and 9, there's a maximum only of 1 cookie. Well, 1 cell, 1 half of a cookie is what I meant to say. So that's the other half. One of these has to be a cookie. The only way I see this working is the 8 and 4, because it can't be the 6 and 3 since we've already placed 2. So that's the cookie. That's an 8. That's a 9. That's a 6. These are not 8 now. This is a 5-9 pair. That's not a 9 now. That's a 4-8 pair. And stunningly, I can't resolve any of it. But go back to what I was saying earlier. That 4 is connected to the 8. Therefore, this is not a cookie. This is a cookie. And the only way for this to actually make a cookie is none of these orthogonally touching cells with the other cookies. That's the cookie. Have I broken it? No, I haven't. The only way I can make this work is that's a 2, that's a 1, because 2 and 4 are gone. So, no, 1, 2, 1, and therefore this 1, this 2, has to be touching a 4 because the 1 is not available in the whole box. The 4 is not available in the column, so this is the only way that this would work. That would be a 4. This is a lovely puzzle. Right, let's keep going. What else do we know? We know that these are 3, 7, 3, 5, 7. Except that's not a 3. And I know nothing else. Okay. 5 and 6 in here, that is a 7. These are not 7. Did I just have a very senior moment? No, that was correct. Because that can't be a 5 since I have a 5, 6 pair in the same box. Excuse me. Right. 5, 6, that's still a 3, a 5. And then I only have 1/2 of a cookie in here. I could do 3, 6. I mean, what is the rest of this box, I guess, is the better question. We need a 1. That's the 1. We need 2 and 9. So where are the cookies is, I guess, the question that I'm asking. Well, it's not that cell. It's not that cell, because remember, they're orthogonally touching something. It's not any of these. One of these is a cookie. If it's in here, it's a 2. And I guess I could do 2, 1 for sure. Can't do it any other way. The alternative would be a 6 with a 3, which I can't do because of these 3s. So that's not the cookie. This is the cookie. It's a 2 with a cookie in here, which unfortunately doesn't resolve the 5, 6 setup for me. Just does a 2, 9. The 2, well, the 9 gives me the 5, the 9, the 4, 8 doesn't seem resolved. The 5 gives me, finally, the 6, the 5, and the 6. And let's just do a bit of Sudoku, I guess. About this Sudoku looks easier. I need a 7, which can only go in here. I need a 6, which can only go in there. I need 3, 8, and 9. That's not 3, that's not 8, and that's not 9. And there's nothing really in the cage that will help. Ah well, let's just keep going. 25 minutes. This was a 1-star difficulty puzzle. I'm not sure I agree with the difficulty rating, if I'm honest. So we have another 4, 8, plus a 1 and a 2. So 2, 4, 8, 1, 1, 2, and a 4, 8. Yep. That's not 2, that's not 1, that's not 4, and that's not 8. I don't know how I kind of missed it first time around. You see, I can kind of see that this cage ends as such. Because you can see that this cage extends, and this case extends, and they don't cross. You know, they're separate cages. I don't know how long this cage is, but basically that's the end of the cage. And therefore that's a 1. They're unique digits. Sleuth, pay attention. 8, 4. None of these are 4 anymore. Well, none of these are 8 either. That's a 2, that's a 1. And yep, that's confirming the cage shape. We do need a second cookie in this cage, and it's not here because the 4 is not connected. Yeah, because I can't have a cookie going up, left, or right, or down, because it will always be touching something else. And, well, I guess in this case, yeah, it would be. So that's not part of the cookie. That's not part of the cookie. None of these are. One of these is part of the cookie. And look at all the options that I have. Technically, that could be an 8. Technically, I emphasize. Because essentially I've placed 1, 2, 4, and 3, 6. The only option for a black crop key will be an 8 in here. Actually, I'm sort of tempted to fill in this row, but let's just finish this thought process. And in the cage, I've already filled in 1, 2, and 4. And 8 is not available. And 3 is not available. And 6 is not available. So that's not the cookie. That is the cookie. And it has to be an 8 because everything else is taken. The 4 now, well, can't be in here, can't be in there because of these 4s. That's the 4. That 8 is already placed, therefore that's a 9, a 3, an 8. I need a second cookie in this cage. Well, it's not any of these. Technically, I could do a 3 and a 6, but it's essentially one of these cells. It's not this cell. Because I've already placed 2, 4, and 8, and 6. So the only options that are available are 1, and not even the 3. Now, I need to get it to 2, but both of these can't be 2 because of these 2. So that's not the cookie, that is the cookie. I need a 6 next to it. That's the only place for the 6. Surely I'm pretty much done now. Let's just do a bit of Sudoku to finish up. 5. Am I going to do Sudoku? I feel like that's kind of the easy way out. Surely, to celebrate this Christmas puzzle, we've got to think about where the cookies are. Whilst I'm doing a bit of Sudoku quickly. Right. So, I mean, ironically, this was a 1. It's just you couldn't connect it to a 2. And these digits, let's just fill them all in. Or more interestingly, where is the cookie? Let's try that. There's only one of them. Have I broken it? Oh, the 8 is touching the 4. Yeah, there are no more cookies. We've done all the cookies. Right, so let's just finish the puzzle. Right, I need a 9 in this row. This 9 tells me it's in here. To finish up this column, I need... I'm kind of being a bit slow here. 1, 2... That's a 3, and if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 7 and the solution to today's puzzle. Well, 30 minutes is excellent. 12,500 solves? You've only just posted the puzzle, Sandra. Maybe that's an error. But I mean, back onto this. I mean, what a phenomenal puzzle. Well, I'm glad I was assisting Nala in actually placing all of these cookies. It was very tricky. Sandra, I don't think a dog can necessarily place them all on the baking sheet without having them touch one another. What a beautiful puzzle. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle. Hope that you enjoyed, well, I mean, based on the solve count, you certainly have enjoyed the puzzle. And I hope you enjoyed the video as well. And hope to see you back soon. Bye for now.